Let's start the show.
Welcome to another episode of the Happy Hour Show with myself, Lindsey Vertner, and you, our very special guest, listening wherever you are listening, watching wherever you're watching. I'm super excited about tonight's guest for the Happy Hour Show, and I'm going to introduce her in just a moment. But first, I got a few things that I want to run by you guys. If you are new to the Happy Hour Show, make sure that you comment, love, share this video out, because this isn't just a conversation between myself and our beautiful guest, but it also includes you, our invisible guests. So make sure you comment, love, share this video out. And this is your personal development show. So I hope you have a pen and a paper, because it's always gems being dropped on the Happy Hour Show, okay? We be learning ourselves some things while we're having fun, all right? So personal development show just for you. We help you to grow personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all these ways you can grow. That's what the Happy Hour Show is all about, and we have fun while doing it. So again, comment, love, share, and if you are tuned in right now, then comment all the way live. And if you're catching the replay later on, we still love you. Comment replay all day, all right? Just make sure that you engage with the conversations. Make sure you post your questions and your comments in the comment section, because our guest tonight will be able to answer your questions live, but you got to talk to us, okay? You got to schmooze us a little bit. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Lindsey Vertner, and I am a mindset coach. That's my whole entire jam, all right? I help high-achieving women who struggle with things like perfectionism, overthinking, imposter syndrome, all those crazy things, learn how to increase their clarity, confidence, connections, and cash flow, okay? I was able to do this for myself after fully recovering from a car wreck that left me brain dead and paralyzed, honey, all right? I made a full recovery, as you can see. And so tonight is not about me, though, all right? That's how I got into my purpose. But tonight is about highlighting our guest and how she serves the world in her purpose. Again, make sure you comment, love, share this video out, because she's going to give you all the goods. And before I introduce her, make sure you sign up for updates so you can stay updated on all things Happy Hour Show at bit.ly/happy updates, okay? So without further ado, let us welcome our lovely, lovely guest that goes by the name of Precious L. Williams, okay? Make sure you throw that L in there, because she is not her grandmother. She is a 13-time national elevator pitch champion. She's also been featured on Shark Tank, CNN, WSJ, Forbes Magazine, Black Enterprise, Essence, The Movie Leap, and it goes on and on and on and on, okay? Her current clients include Microsoft, LinkedIn, Google, eBay, and more, honey. So she is working with brands that you use all the time. She has a 26-year career as an international professional speaker and corporate trainer, all right? And she is affectionately known as #Killer Pitch Master. So without further ado, let's welcome tonight's guest, Precious.
Hey, you know how we do.
Hello.
That was me. I did that. Yay, you know? Let's get it.
We celebrate you to the max, okay? And I know I just gave a quick snippet of your resume, but before we get into all that fabulous and how you got there, I want you to peel back the curtains and take us back, okay? Tell us, who is Precious L. Williams really?
Well, I was named after my grandmother, Precious Dolores Williams. Girl, you know how we do. Girl, I always be struggling. You know what? Listen, flaws and all. Let's go get it. I'm not gonna worry about it. We going in. I'm named after my grandmother. We call her Big Precious. I am from St. Louis. Grew up with my mom and my dad until I was 12 years old. With my mom, yeah, my mom and dad till I was 12. And my mother never liked me, just never, ever liked me. And it's something that if you are rejected by your parents, it's something that will always stay with you. And so my father is a drug addict. And so I just felt really tossed and kicked to the curb. You know, my mother always told me she hated me. I was stupid. She wished I was never born. And I can't explain it, but there was something in me that knew I was supposed to do something big. Now, listen, Sally Jesse Raphael, Phil Donahue, you know, they helped raise me. You know, Nick at Night raised me, my three sons and all of that. Like, I was so much of a latchkey kid. Like, I would just watch shows in the middle of the night, Nick at Night, my three sons, Donna Reed, and all of that sort of thing. And I would try to imagine what my life would be like if I was loved, if I was if people thought highly of me. And that didn't happen. And so my mother nearly beat me to death 30 years ago, on November 18th, 1991. I grew up resenting my sister, who was light skinned with green eyes, because I was always told that she would be the one to make it. She was pretty, she would marry well and stuff like that. And this is no shade to my beautiful sister, but it just, there was something in me that was just like, you know, and Mariah Carey said it, the one you gave away is the one you're going to be wishing for. And I don't know, that stuck with me. So when I went to go live with my father, once my mother nearly beat me to death, and you know, the police took pictures of all the damage done to my body and being beaten with broomsticks, extension cords, belt buckles. Like, she held back nothing. And I went to go live with my father, who I did not want to live with. So that was 3 years of living with a drug addict. And then at 15, my grandparents stepped in, and I almost felt like the rest is history. My grandmother, Precious Dolores Williams, God rest her soul, that woman breathed life into me. That woman made me feel every day like I was special. My grandfather did too. But my grandmother poured into, when I say, and I heard Dr. Sherwood always said it, pour, she literally spoke life over me. And she was like, oh, you're a great speaker. And oh, like, twinkle my toes. And people think I'm joking. She twinkled my toes in the morning. Her and my granddad, wake up, Queen Bee. Work. Work. We're in the hood. Where did he do that? And when I went to go live with them, I was in special education classes because, you know, I just kind of gave up on school. And within 1 week, I was in AP classes. And so before I knew it, you know, here I was the number one student in my class. Now, I went from special ed number one. Who does that? But my grandparents were just so loving and so kind. And if I could just be honest, my grandmother had 8th grade education. So when they would make me do my homework, I had no idea. They didn't understand what I was doing. I had no idea. That's how great of parents they were. You sure you did that right? Well, you know, let me go back. Play it back, you know. And when I tell you, my first speaking, that was great. But when I tell you, watching my grandmother in the audience, and she was at everything I did, from the Shakespeare competition to everything. She was always there. And it was almost like she was just like, nobody wanted you, but I did. And I waited my turn. And I got you. And I'm going to protect you. And when anybody ever spoke reckless on my name, you got to deal with Precious. You got to deal with Big Precious. Girl, I got fired from my first job working at Schnutz's, the grocery store. Girl, I started off as a bagger. I just thought it was above being a bagger. I really did. So I was like, can I go to that Florida department? How you going to start something at 16? But I did. I got into the Florida department.
Ow.
That's what I fired, girl. I got fired because, you know, I was eating on the job. Girl, that was ridiculous.
That would have been me. Like, let me just taste
I was over there. I was in the produce. I was in the fruit aisle. I was like, let me just throw it over here and get. You got a receipt for that? Well, no. Okay. But anyway, at the end of the day,
Paige and Precious.
Yeah, you know, my grandmother was like, and I got the lectures from hell. Like, it was, I never got hit. My grandparents were just like 2 hours in the basement. Just I'm like, please, can he hit me, please, please, just smack me around just a little bit. I'll go quietly. I'm not even gonna argue with you. I'll go no, but I'll sit and listen. And they don't want to lose confidence in you.
Listen, I love it. You done already dropped so much and so many different directions we can go. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Happy Hour Show with myself, Lindsey Vertner, and our very beautiful guest, Precious L. Williams. Okay, she is your killer pitch master. Get it right, all right?
All day.
Listen, post your questions for Precious below. Make sure you engage in the conversation with us. And you done dropped so many bombs already. It's like,
I was going to my high school though too.
Which one do I start with? Which one do I start with?
Girl,
Let's
go around the world. Let's do it.
The feeling of having parents that don't like you. Because I remember one time I had saw a post, and this was some years ago now, but somebody had posted daddy issues ain't a thing or something real snide remark like that. And I didn't respond because, you know, I wasn't about to go there that day and I already knew. So, but it really triggered me like, clearly she has some issues that she needs to get together, but mommy issues, daddy issues, parental issues as a whole is a very big thing. And so many people are walking around with issues that stemmed from how they were raised with a present parent, you know, in certain circumstances, or even with an absent parent. And so just tell us, what was that like for you as a child to hear these caregivers that are supposed to love me unconditionally that don't like me? What was that journey?
You know, my childhood was so dark. My mother kept me in my bedroom. I couldn't go outside and play. And all I had in my bedroom was these Harlequin romance novels. I'm telling you, I read every one of them. But the God's honest truth is I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable in how I looked. I didn't feel comfortable in how I sounded. But when I went to school, I came alive, right? Because that was when, you know, I could express myself. I could give impromptu speeches, not even knowing I was doing anything. I could write creatively. I could, you know, and I was put in gifted and talented classes when I was like, you know, from 3rd to 5th grade and then pushed up. But it didn't heal certain things. I mean, I remember my mother one day, she put all these ingredients into a glass and poured water in it. She said I had to drink it. I'm looking like, if I could have said jigga what I would have, but you know. And constantly being pitted against my sisters. He ate away at me. I remember the time when a boy that I really liked ran up and kissed my sister in front of me. And I remember it just like it was yesterday. So I never felt pretty. I never felt like I would ever get the guy. I never felt, and my mother always used to say this, you're book smart. I don't know about y'all, but if you always grow up and people always talk about you're smart, sometimes you just want to be pretty. I want to know what pretty felt like. Yes, it's great to have book smarts, but listen, there's nobody walking around saying, look at this book smart woman on my arm. You know what I mean? And so the truth of the matter is, living with my grandparents, that was life-changing because even though we were in the inner city, I never thought that I would be the queen of my high school for an entire year. I was Miss Belmont in 1996, 1997. And I competed against, I think, 3 or 4 other wonderful, talented women. But I dared to dream that I could. Right. And, you know, boys did like me, girls liked me. Shoot, I was with it. You know what I mean? And so to be crowned that and to be able to feel good in my skin and also be smart and have a parade in the city of St. Louis. I mean, women can say that. I've had a parade in the city of St. Louis and walked in a Harris Stowe Teachers College parade. You know what I mean? And so my grandmother and my grandfather loved me to life. And she insisted on me, you know, I'm beautiful. Like, but if you've heard for 15 years, you haven't. It was still something that I had worked through. But I knew that my talent, I didn't even know what my talent was, but I knew there was something deep in me. I was a star and I knew it. And I knew that when I met people, sometimes they were kind of like, "Ooh, that's a lot." And I wanted them to have a reaction. Love it or hate it. No lukewarm. I want you to eat, man, I ain't dealing with that. Or, man, I'm with it. You know,
yes.
So my grandmother fostered this in me to be you are great as you are. And
Mm.
she died when I was in a junior at Spelman College. She died, and I'll never ever forget that, because it was like I lost the greatest woman I have ever known, the baddest bitch on this earth. Do you hear me now? And
Okay.
yeah, she was all of that. And so my grandfather was too. He bankrolled the operation. What we talking about? Listen, I got a tab. I still got an outstanding tab. But at the end of the day, the hardest thing is when your parents don't want you. I didn't know how to accept love. I didn't. I did not know. I remember the first time my grandmother yelled at me. Girl, I went to the room, started packing my stuff. I said, "Oh, it's a matter of time." And she came in, looked at me like,
What you doing?
she's like, "Sit down." She's like, "When I'm yelling at you, I'm correcting you.
Mm-hmm.
I still love you. I still love you.
Mm.
So just accept that nobody's gonna put you out." I'm like,
Listen, and that is so important because usually how we learn to love is by our caretakers. So, how
right.
they treat us, how we observe them interacting with the other people in our household, that's how we learn to give love. That's how we learn to accept love. So, if you have an absent parent, but they're just always buying you things, buying you things, buying you things, then when you get older, you think, my way of showing love is to buy you gifts all the time. I don't have to be present with you. I don't have to talk to you. I just buy you stuff and pay for things. And so
Mm.
you pointed that out. You didn't know how to love growing up with the parents that you had. And then you thought, oh, she's yelling at me. So I'm about to get put out. I'm about to get in trouble. Like, that is big to recognize. And so, what advice would you give to the viewers and listeners that have a rocky relationship with their parents, or maybe they didn't have their parents present, or maybe their parents were abusive? What advice would you give to them?
Well, coming out of the darkness into light a few years ago, I found myself in and out of the psych ward. And I know some of my friends will watch, they'll be like, "Yeah, I was right there with her, the mayor of the psych ward. That was what she was." Until I dealt with some of those hard issues. You know how Young always talks about do the work? I've forgiven my parents, but I don't have a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm ready, we can do that. But I'm not ready. When you go through homelessness and severe alcohol addiction, and we were just talking about, how do you learn to love? When my grandmother died, something snapped in me. When my grandfather died, something snapped in me. And so I kind of reverted back to having a wall, right? And so all it was achievements and accomplishments and stuff like that. And I remember my line sister said to me, Janelle, my 13, she said, "You're enough as you are. Whether you have one more thing happen or none, you're enough as you are, but you don't know that. You
Mm.
don't know it, right?" And so my true advice is to truly seek therapy from a disinterested party, a psychiatrist, a psychiatrist is going to handle with the medication, but a therapist with whom you feel comfortable to go deep. For years, I was in therapy and never went deep. I've
Mm.
had therapists who were like fangirls to me, like, "Oh, what we talking about? What you doing now, babe? I want to talk about. I
Not
want to
a
talk
fine
about,
girl
like, maybe I
therapist.
went to bed yesterday. I don't know. Maybe I ate overate. I don't know." And when I was in this Christ Center Life Transformation program, I didn't need to drink because we were talking. We had discipleship classes. I learned how to be in a community with women who weren't like me, were like me, and we were all trying to build ourselves back up through our Heavenly Father and seeing ourselves not as the world would have us see ourselves. Listen, I'm a full figure diva. There will always be people who will bring up weight or the fact that, listen, I'm 42. I should have a six pack abs and a Brazilian butt lift. But what I have truly learned is to truly love myself. And that's dangerous for people. It's dangerous
Mm.
because since everybody's picked everybody else apart, when you walk in and you're just like, hate it or love it. I don't
Yeah.
have time to spend time with people who don't like me. I don't have that kind of time. If my
Mm.
light, if my light is too much for you, then I suggest you exit stage left because I'm not.
Right. Put on some shades or some
And
sunglasses
if
or something.
all you want is a Instagram beautiful woman to be a speaker and corporate trainer, and good luck with that. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Age is going to take over at some point, but it's cool though. You don't have to know that right now. You don't have to know. But the thing is, my grandmother built something up in me that even if I didn't feel physically attractive, even if I didn't think certain things, when I hit that stage, baby, I'm coming to slay. I don't care who you. I don't care. You can be the biggest name in this world. I'm ready because I'm not going to talk about the same things you talk about, and I'm not going to try. I'm not.
Yes.
Like when you go into competitions, it's not like no, it's like that's mine, and it's not mine because oh I'm just going to talk a good game. It's mine because it's already been ordained. You've
Yes.
never seen someone who takes every flaw and uses them as their secret weapon. I've been talked about, dogged out, bricks thrown at me. I've had all these other things. And you know what? Homeless, alcoholic, whatever you want to say, thief, whatever, disbarred, whatever you want to say. I'm running to tell it first. I'm gonna be like Martin Lawrence. I'm gonna run tell it. Because by the time you tell it and you think it's gonna be shocking, it's not. It's not.
Look, you're gonna make me go watch that comedy show this weekend.
Run tell it.
I might still have it on VHS.
I'm coming back bigger and blacker. Stop playing with me. I'm coming back hella black. What you talking about? And I love me. Like I go in any room and I don't have to sit around like, oh my God, do I have to have a Fendi and Gucci? Do I have to have a Birkin? I don't have to do it. No. The Birkin has arrived. It is me. It is she.
Okay.
This is what I do. I understand that people respect material things, but if you ain't got it, and it's someone who went through homelessness, true homelessness, eating out of garbage cans, riding the subway because you ain't got nowhere to go at night. Listen, we're not gonna play this game about it just sounds. No, it was hard. It was very, very hard, and I couldn't hold my head up in Harlem. I was so beaten and broken, and my spirit was so down. And it took a beautiful woman named Joe at the Bowery Mission Women's Center who would always say, "Hold your head up high. Do you know who you are?" I'm like, man. She was like, "Do you know who you are?" And every time she saw my head down, she said, "You forgot who you are. It ain't about no businesses. It ain't about none of that. Everyone's been through something. They're just hiding it. Won't you tell the truth?" And it took me, 7-8 months. If she's watching, she knows. We used to volunteer and clean up the men's center at 227 Bowery. And when I first went in, I was a size 22. And all I wore was sweats because that's all they could give me in my size. And when I tell you this transformation started to happen, there was an intern, beautiful chocolate sister, Queen. She used to pray over the clothes she gave me. And when I tell you, she dressed me so well with, the name brand top stuff. And she said, "I prayed over the clothes for you." She said, "Because you're going places." And when people would come in, sometimes they would mistake me for the staff. And I would be like, "No, I'm not staff. I'm a student." "Yeah, you're right." "No, I'm a student. I'm up. My schedule is up 6 to 10 every 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every night. Every hour is accounted for. Trust and believe that." And I'm kind of glad we're going down this road because I'm sorry, I'm emotional because
it's all right.
Sometimes when you're going through things, it's just you just go through it, right? You just go through. And I've talked about homelessness, but I've never really talked about just how painful it is to see people who will spit on you. Oh, you used to be the shiznick. Now you ain't. You used to be all this and that. Now look at you, a slug in the ditch. People I knew trashed me. And I had to come out of homelessness and face that. And if it wasn't for the work that we did at the Bowery Mission Women's Center, where I found God, I was at my lowest point, learning to live in a community, not knowing how to cook and learning how to cook for 22 to 25 women. I can't cook for myself. I gotta cook. And knowing we had the best.
Yeah, I want the hot dogs.
We had Whole Foods and Trader Joe's food. So it wasn't like we were eating out, whatever. But I learned how to cook with the best ingredients. We had cookbooks. And then I started thinking of things to make for the women. Like I was going ham and cheese in my mind. Like, you know what? I know what y'all have on the schedule. Can I make something a little out of ordinary? And because I was there so long, they trusted me. I remember there was a queen of mine. So I said, "Yo, I got to cook today. You want to come down?" She's like, yeah, I'm going in. So we would put on this particular two or three gospel CDs. And they had all kinds of different gospels from around the world, right? I'd be like, play that funky music. And we were going. Yeah, we shut the kitchen door. Oh, we going in now because our kitchen was made by Better Homes and Gardens. And so when I tell you, hit that beautiful bean footage, bam, we broiling up in here, we chopping it up. I mean, we literally cooked. It wasn't like you know how you go to Whole Foods and you'll have everything already chopped up. No, we chopped it up. Dancing in there like, oh, we got the gloves on. We was going in here. Oh, we were going in. And it made my heart feel so good because I didn't know how to love. And here I am showing love through food. And that made me be of service because I wanted to hear what they said about the food I cooked, or what can I do to make it better? And then we would have Bible study and all these sort of things. And one of the most beautiful things happened. So I would go to the dentist at NYU, and I'm not going to say what his name was, but he was so sweet. And one day I walk in, he would always call it Fresh Fridays when I came in because he would play hip hop and he would be going in on my teeth or whatever. Cleaning them or whatever. And one day he told me, close my eyes. So I'm like, I didn't want to go in there. I was like, man, I'm tired. He dropped something in my lap. And I felt this thud. I was like, open it up. He said, open it up. Opened it up and it was a laptop. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at him. He said, you're going places. I'm looking like, oh. And everybody who's in the Bowery, y'all know what his name is because I always had a whole name around him. He came to my graduation. But I remember, so I came back in the Bowery, right? I'm flexing. I got a laptop. Ain't got no access to the internet, but I got a laptop.
Listen, progress is better than perfection. And I got to pause you right there because I want to make sure the viewers and listeners don't miss this point. You talked about showing up and being who your grandmother helped you to become, loving yourself from the inside out, not being worried about your appearances, not being shamed by the things that you were going through. I know that was a difficult time and, you had your moments, but the fact that you own it, that's what I talk about when I say living a first class life, because you are boldly and unapologetically being you, flaws and all. And that's what attracts all this goodness and this greatness and these gifts that you get out of nowhere, seemingly nowhere, but we know where they come from, right? But that's what attracts all of the wonderful things that happens to you. And for some people, it may seem like, oh, she's just lucky, or oh, she just knew this person. But no, you have put in the emotional work. You have continued to keep going whenever you could have easily gave up, like unfortunately most people do. And you continue to show up as who you were and were unapologetic about it, honey. And I love that. If you're just tuning in, you are watching the Happy Hour Show with myself, Lindsey Vertner, and the killer pitch master, Precious L. Williams, right over here. Over here in the comments, Donette says, I know that's right. The Birkin has arrived.
That's my girl, Donette.
Yes.
Alive.
And Chanel is dropping that high fire.
If y'all think I look pretty, Donette just did this, because she didn't want me to come on camera looking a little cray. Thank you, Donette, for always making me look pretty.
Hey, way to jazz it up. Yes. Now, before we get back into this discussion, because listen, so juicy and so good, this is just a perfect time to take a little pause and play a little game that I like to call
What's in your cup?
Yeah, this is the part of the show where we grab our drinks and we share what's in our cups, So first, our lovely guest will share what she's sipping on. She'll give us a little cup cam. I'll share what I'm sharing. And you listening at home, put down in the comments what it is that you are sipping on in your cup, okay? And y'all should already know, Happy Hour Show is hashtag no judgment zone. So whether you got something healthy or you got some special ingredient in your drink, okay, you do you, boo, all right? So, Miss Precious L. Williams, what's in your cup?
Well, let's talk about the first. My cup says pitch, please.
Oh, give it.
And
Hold it up closer.
girl, listen,
Good
you don't
cup.
want no, you don't want no smoke. You don't want that smoke. Can't see it.
Closer,
Bitch, please.
closer, all the way up there. Give us all, yeah, all the way up.
I always struggle.
Right.
Oh, I said, pitch please. You know, when people talk reckless, pitch please. And
Hey,
I am drinking the lovely Schweppes ginger ale, followed by that roll with that beautiful bean footage water. Wait a minute, y'all. I keep it clean. I keep it clean. I have no problem with people drinking around me. I just thank God that I'm okay now. And I can take everything. But
yes,
girl, the Schweppes is hitting the spot. I need to take a shot. Y'all know.
yes. I love that. And that just shows how much growth there is because, sometimes there's people that have struggled with alcohol and they can't be around it. And not that it's a bad thing that they can't be around. Like they know the limits to where I know I can't go around it at all. But the fact that you even pass that area of healing and growth to be able to easily be around it. You drink, you do you, and I'm gonna do me, and everything's gonna be cool. Like that just shows how amazing you are. Over here in my
cup, how amazing God is. Girl, okay. What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
I'm like, Willis, what you talking about? I don't even know.
What you talking about, Willis? Yes. So in my cup over here today, I am drinking some Tivana Peach Tranquility tea.
Oh, I like Peach Tranquility, Queen. You know, at night
it's not hot. It's a cold tea. So I made it yesterday, and I made it sweet tea, and it's been in the refrigerator, so it's nice and cold.
I'll be loving it, girl. You know, at night I be trying to have that chamomile. And I pour a little whole milk, get it right. You're like, oh, you put sugar in it? I don't put none of that. I just want the chamomile and a little bit, and we going ham and cheese.
Over here in the comments, Renette says she is drinking certified organic lemonade. Who certified it, girl? Who certified it?
Let us know. Certified up in these streets. Girl, she probably got it from Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Certified in these streets.
And Nanette says, you're beautiful. Just a little enhancement.
I appreciate that. I appreciate. What did Domingo say? Just a little bit of straightening. Just a little bit. Ain't nothing but a little bit of straightening.
Hey, Alexa, play Migos and listen.
I
never heard of that part. Listen. Play it. And she says, proud of you, and you look gorgeous. Thank you. She's talking about you, girlfriend.
I had to sit there and be like, she said that about me. Because you know what sometimes we do. Well, girl, it's this and that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, my
That's
queen.
a whole nother segment right there, minimizing when we get compliments, because sometimes we're so conditioned that we aren't worthy of them, that we don't deserve them. Oh, I'm just, a nobody. I'm not Beyonce or Idris Elba or something like that. And just
I'm like, who were they before that? That's cool.
Right. And so that is a good thing. I'm glad you just said that, being able to accept a compliment without minimizing the compliment.
Or qualifying. Nah, babe. Thank you.
That was good. So let's get back into this discussion. So you have overcome so many different obstacles in your life, abusive and abandonment by your biological parents, homelessness, and not like I'm sleeping on couch to couch, but like genuine out on the street, riding the subways, eating from the trash homelessness. Well, look, there I go. Not to minimize one homelessness from the other, but I meant that deeper level of homelessness, alcoholism, and so many other things. And what would you say to the viewers and listeners who feel like they just keep getting hit with obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and they're about ready to give up because it's like, how much more can you put me through?
When I tell you, as you were saying things to me, what's been happening to me lately, because I walked out of homelessness 3 years ago, is I'll get these flashbacks. It's like God will take me back to places that I had totally forgotten about. Look how far you've come. I really think that what the Bowery mission did for me, I'm not saying everybody got to go out, it ain't even like that, but being able to be still. So I couldn't work. I literally had to be in community
Mm.
and be ministered to fully on a daily basis. Volunteer, volunteer at World Vision, and just give my life over. I guess you would call it surrender. So there was
Mm.
no talk about business. There's no talk about Shark Tank. There's no talk about any of that. There were some deep seated issues that I had to go through, and I'll be honest with y'all. To the end of time, I'm gonna go through some things, right? I'm not
Mhm.
gonna tell you I'm completely healed. When I see people with their parents and they're all lovey dovey on social media, it still hurts because I don't
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Or people who will assume I have family that's gonna just swoop in and help if things get rough. No, I wasn't homeless by myself,
Yeah.
right? There weren't, I love my cousin Precious and my cousin Lil James and my aunt Jackie. There's no one who can go through that. There's no one who can go through it. And because I wasn't honest about how dark and remember DMX said, it's dark and hell is hot. I'm telling you, it was. My advice really is to make sure that you don't isolate yourself from the people who love you, but you'll
Mm.
never know who really loves you until you see them show that love. The reason why I was homeless is because I was too embarrassed to tell my friends what I was going through. The
Mm.
reason why I was homeless is because I didn't reach out to the people that loved me because I didn't feel their love. And so I just assumed no one cared. And if it wasn't for Joanne Francis for Bright Point Health and now Sun River Health, I wouldn't be here. That woman fought for me when I tried to take my life on my 38th birthday. That woman got me all the way back to New York. She got me into the Bowery Mission Women's Center Crisis Respite. This is a woman who met me when I was in and out of psych wards and said she gonna be with me.
Mm.
And you never think of social workers like that. You'd be like, ah, man, they got such a big schedule. And they do. But when I tell you, I was at the Bowery Mission, do you know who would show up once a month? Just to make sure if she ain't got a wreck shop, if I'm being mistreated. She only has a wreck shop. She never had a wreck shop. I remember thinking back, like my girl Precious, my girl Precious, she would always show up. My boy RL, he now lives in Nashville. There were some people I started to slowly say, hey, I was going through a hard time. And
Mm.
they were like, why didn't you say anything? I said, because I was embarrassed. I'm a Spelman grad, went to Georgetown, went to Rutgers. I didn't know anyone who'd ever been kicked out of law school. I didn't.
Mhm.
And how do you talk about being kicked out of law school when you are 23 years old? So I never talked about it. And I remember there were some conversations people had with me. I couldn't be honest and say, I effed up. I totally messed up.
Mhm.
And so, there's some relationships that got frayed because I wasn't honest about what was really happening because I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't
Mm.
know how to talk about that. I walked away from Georgetown on my 23rd, 24th birthday, then come back for 3 months just thinking, oh, everything's gonna be okay. This is 2001, yeah, that was 20 years ago. I moved in the day Aaliyah died. I was there
Oh.
September 11th. Please believe there's so much that happens in so many of our lives that we don't even understand how all of it starts to shape you, right?
Mhm.
2001 was I graduated from Spelman in May 2001, came to New York, had a great time, went off to Georgetown, Aaliyah died. So there was all these things happening. And only in retrospect, when I've had the peace to look back and say, why wouldn't I crank up? What
Right.
what made me think because I have to be a strong black woman? I gotta no. What I needed was a break, and the same thing we allow other people to have. Oh, gap year. I want to go find myself. Let's give it to us too, as
Yeah.
BIPOC, people of color, Black women. Let Not all of us are built for certain things. Like I'm not supposed to be in finance. I'm not supposed to have I'm not supposed to be an attorney. That was only a stepping stone.
Mhm.
Just like Curvy Girls Lingerie, my first company, it was a stepping stone for me to become the killer pitch master. And so once I finally had to let that go, let being an attorney go, let a lot of things go. The world really opened up because I finally stood in my genius. My genius is
Listen.
not being in court anymore. Girl, I don't want no them boring cases. I'm
I have
not.
to pause you right there because I don't want the viewers and listeners to miss that point, letting things go. Because so many times we're trying to hold on to things, especially if it was an idea that we just thought was bomb, or we're trying to hold on to relationships. I know that is a struggle for many people, whether
Girl.
whether intimate relationship or platonic or a professional relationship. Hold on to relationships that no longer serve us or are bringing us down. And what happens is the abundance that God has for us, the things that are meant for us that allow us to walk in our purpose can't come into our lives because we don't have the space or the capacity to take it in. And so we're holding on to this relationship. We're holding on to this thing that we don't want to let go. Meanwhile, our destiny is outside the door, like, I need you to let some people out before I can come in. You at max capacity at your club, right?
It's what often I can hear him saying. You got to weed and prune. That doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Weeding and pruning, girl. When I tell you, so the love of my life was this famous actor, and he's been dead for years, and not being able to grieve properly caused me to drink. Here I am trying to put on this front like everything's perfect. It wasn't. It was so gunky and mucky on the inside.
Yeah.
And so when I started to open my heart out again with a particular gentleman, I really felt like he didn't, like, once I said, even with the actor, when I told him I got kicked out of Georgia, I swear it was something that changed. I can't even explain it, right? Because I wasn't, oh, you, okay. And with this particular gentleman, I felt like once he knew I was just fighting my way out of homelessness, I was just downgraded. And you know what I'm talking about. Every woman, every man, when someone, your cool points just kind of left. And so I kept trying to prove myself and get this and get that. And finally just understanding that, first of all, we're not compatible. And why didn't I ever ask myself this question? Did I really want to be here? Did I really want to be in this relationship? If I got to be with someone who's always critical of me, where is that coming from? That's mom. That's my mom. I'm going to constantly need to prove. And at this stage of the game, I'm not willing to do it anymore. So walking away, I ain't got to answer a cell phone. I ain't got to answer a text. I ain't got to answer none of it. And when I used to block, that's cute. But no, you can go. I'm just not picking. It's like, after the night, remix. Don't bring your man around me. It's your player for real. It's your girl for real.
We know you single and ready to mingle.
You ain't got the call. It's okay. Because I'm going to ride out. I'm about to fly out. I'm like, listen, I'm not catching feelings. I'm catching flights. So why you diss me when you diss me, when I wasn't exactly, maybe you're so used to glamazon and all that kind of stuff. Baby, I came out of darkness and into the light. It takes time. I think of my queen, Ty Goodwin, and she always, she was, how all of us had the coaches like, raise your rates and stuff like that. You know how they be telling us that, right? They be telling us. I really believe that sometimes it's not that we're dumb or we're stupid. Sometimes you got to see yourself there. So anybody can tell you to raise your prices, but there's always going to be something in you that's it's going to come out in the sales call. It's going to come out with something where they can hear the hesitation. It's not just, 25,000. No, it might be, man, I just need $12.95. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that had me thinking in a new way. And when I turned 40, so on my 41st birthday, 3 years from the day I tried to take my life, I got to speak in Microsoft in the loft space. They did all the marketing, everything, food provided. I'm like, yo, Microsoft doing it like that? No. And I asked the gentleman to come, and he didn't. And if I'm being honest, that was serious. Suicide is not, no. And we can't only think about it when it's people who don't look like us. Oh, that's really sad. Baby, there's a lot of us that are walking wounded and suffering in silence. And so this year, as God has, been showing me places that I didn't even remember. It's like whenever I go to the airport, we go all through these places. We go past, 500 Pearl Street, where I clerk for federal judge in the Southern District. We go past Bowery. Like, we go past all these places. And I'm like, God, you wanted me to not be on subways anymore. You wanted, listen, I used to drive, now I'm being driven. But only because I can see things from a different vantage point, right? And so I ask all of y'all tonight, if you don't get nothing, we don't have to talk about Pitchmaster or anything, but I really want to ask y'all this question. Are you the Toyota or the Rolls Royce? Are you the Toyota or the Rolls Royce of your industry? There's nothing wrong with a Toyota, y'all. I ain't got no car. But you will accept certain things because you don't want to. What did you hear what Kanye said? Did I become a rapper to push a RAV4? nothing wrong with a RAV4. Somebody can pick me up in a RAV4. However, if I'm gonna be driven, ride out in there. Where my drive at? Let's go get this. The reason why I think it's important is because until you honestly believe in your heart, you are the Rolls Royce. You will take every free thing. You will only listen to free stuff, and you're not going to go anywhere. This is not my thing. You need to invest in everybody. No, invest wisely. But what I'm saying to you is, as a Rolls Royce, you can't take every speaking gig and hope for exposure. That come on, man. I don't. People who've been doing this a long time, exposure don't mean nothing to me. Not when I was on Shark Tank, seen in Wall Street Journal. I flew all over the world, international, speaking at International Women's Day in Canada. I'm still Black and an American. Why am I in Canada? Because they saw value in me. Think about that. But they didn't see value. If I called myself, you can pay me $12.97, or I'll just take what I can get. Man, there was a time I used to just pray rent would be paid. When the former pastor of Trinity Baptist Church and his wife came to me and said, we want you to come live with us after the Bowery mission. I was scared. They look nothing like me. Some people were trying to give me these horror stories. I've been here 3 years, and I went from the third floor. Do you see why 3 keeps coming up? I went from the third floor to a 2-bedroom apartment in the midst of a pandemic. How did that happen? I became the Rolls Royce in the pandemic. And to those who think, oh, it's because you're Black. Listen, you can talk that game all you talk that talk. That is not true. It is because when others shrink, I step up. And if it's the fourth quarter, who are you gonna roll with? Someone who's been in the fourth quarter, somebody who's hit rock bottom and knows how to avoid now. Or the novice who's like, oh, well, you can't ask for this. The heck you can't. Maybe you need to change your target market. Maybe you are attracting the wrong people. It's not like just people who can't pay. Some people are not meant to be your clients. I promise you they're not. You're thinking about paying rent, but you still stuck with somebody you don't even like. That's hard. You're taking every speaking engagement. I may be exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm really exhausted, but I'm exhausted doing what I do. I'm not telling people to hustle and grind no, but what I am saying is when you're putting in that work, the more you ask today, the more you ask of your network, the more you demonstrate value, the more your content really shows an elevated level. You are the Rolls Royce. I don't compete with the biggest speakers in the world in their lane because they can't compete in mine. Think about that. I am not this speaker or that speaker. I'm a killer pitch master, a world-class master communicator. If you think I can't get to someone, I did, and I didn't pay for it.
Yeah,
I didn't get my first movie role. Ooh, I didn't. I came from St. Louis, the hood, the grizzy, get it out the mud, as our girl Lotto says. I'm gonna show you how to ball when all odds are against you. I love when she says that. She's like, you how to ball when all odds are against you. All odds were against me. These very big time people diss me, and it's fine now. I get it. You don't want to hang with losers, but understand some of us are built differently. And so, if I'm a McDonald's, be my Burger King because I'm about to really show you what time it is.
Listen,
number one for a reason. Burger King, get them flame boiled burger, girl. They be fire. They be fire, but you can't compete with them with the fries, right? The McDonald's burgers, I ain't worried about, but maybe the Big Mac. Okay, but what I'm saying is
pizza for me. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, now that I've been to LA, now that I've done Shark Tank, all that kind of stuff, my whole palate has changed, right? So I can eat miso glazed Chilean sea bass. I can sit on the rooftop somewhere and be having like deviled eggs with caviar on it and be like, yeah, we can do that. Or I can go have fried chicken down here at the shack. It doesn't matter to me because I've been to the top and the bottom to the top to the bottom to the top. I've done it so many times. And so when you're thinking about it, why should somebody choose you? Why? What do you have to bring to the table that nobody else can? I've never met a 13-time national pitch champ. I've never met that person. There are people who raised more. They've gone over $1 million and stuff like that. It takes nothing away from me at all. But being able to demonstrate how all odds were against me when I started with negative $400 and went on one television show and walked away with $500,000. When all odds are against you, let me show you how to ball. So think about it. If it's in the fourth quarter, why should they go with you? What do you bring to the table? Is it you taking pictures with celebrities now? great vanity metrics that like. How do you convert that? You can't, because if you see yourself as the Rolls Royce, you're the celebrity. You're the Birkin. I wish somebody would. I'm not competing. I'm like Nicki Minaj. I got bad vision. I don't see competition. And I don't. I don't. It's not that, oh, I'm so much better. It's like you're in my lane. So when you can come into this lane and do this, you can do it better than me. I'll fall back. But I tell you all, meet me in a dark alley at 3:00 in the morning and come with your A game. Because I can roll up out of here, look toe up from the flow up. I'm ready at all times to do battle. All times.
I have to pause you and
with me.
point this out because, you know, you talk about staying in your lane and can't nobody mess with you in your lane. And what do you bring to the table, and understanding if you're the Toyota or the Rolls Royce, and everybody has the ability to be the Rolls Royce, but it's believing that we are the Rolls Royce, that we do deserve to be treated the way the Rolls Royce is treated and famed, right?
Yes.
And so I think that goes right back into what we were talking about earlier about living your first class life and being boldly and unapologetically who you are, flaws and all. Because here's the thing that I can already notice in our discussion and in your answers, and as we're chatting here, you love you, and it shows. Shout out to Precious Williams, Grandma Precious Williams. Yes. Precious Dolores Williams. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so because you are unapologetically you, and I'm bringing this up again and repeating it again because I know people have missed it already, and repetition is the master that we need, right? And so again, I say, when you show up boldly and unapologetically as who you are, things fall in line, abundance falls in line, happiness falls in line. You don't have to worry about what you bring to the table because you are being you, the best you, when you are showing up boldly and unapologetically and not trying to be somebody else. Because when we're trying to be somebody else, when we're trying to live up to the expectations of other people and who they think we should be, we won't ever win. Because that's not who we truly are. Girl, what is some advice that you have for the person that is out there struggling to be the Rolls Royce in whatever that is, whether that's as a mother, whether that's as a wife, whether that's as a friend, whether that's as an entrepreneur, a CEO, a community leader, whatever is their role, because everybody has a purpose. What advice would you give to that person that's just like, I don't see it?
Make sure that you're not the bright light in your network. Make sure that as you look around the people that you've been around, what are they doing? Are they progressing? Or are y'all still in the same place y'all were last year?
That part.
If you're in the same place where you were last year, you need to step it up, right? Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? I think you need a diverse network, right? And so no matter what race, age, creed, color, differently able, LGBT, you still need different people, because some people can unlock the door that others can't. Some people are going to see something in you because you're not. It's like this, Queen. I'm an international professional speaker. You are too. Here's the thing. I don't hang with speakers all the time because I don't want to have those same conversations. So I will go into different networks where they're focused on other things. And then I'm truly the bright light because you've never seen anything like me. And now you're like, maybe she can talk here, and maybe she can do this, and maybe she can do that. Yes, because my job is not to stay in this network. It's to show those transferable skills into other places. And so that's how I got into the LinkedIns, the Googles, and the Microsoft. It ain't because I'm a tech person. Clearly, I didn't go to school for that. I have an English degree, and I'm a JD. Woo! I don't see electronics in that, technology in that. But what I was able to do is meet the right people who saw something in me. So even if I just walked out of homelessness, you know, I've been clean and sober almost 5 years coming January 22nd, 2022. 43 years old. When I tell you, going into different spaces, paying a little extra, going maybe once or twice a year to some event that's so out of my price range that I got to come. Well, I tell you how to ball when all odds against you. I need to make this back. So I'm going ham and cheese, peanut butter and jelly on people. Oh, I'm too fat, too black, no Ivy League degree. Cool, because I did teach at Harvard this year. Right. But remember, I don't have a Ivy League degree. So how did they find me? LinkedIn. Right? What are you posting in your social media posts? Are you really establishing that you are who you say you are? So in addition to cute meals and bopping around on boats and stuff like that, at the end of the day, the job is to show people even behind the scenes. I don't look like this halfway all the time. I don't. Some of y'all see me look ridiculous. And you know what? I'm still an international professional speaker, a corporate trainer, three-time #1 best-selling author. I'm that chick. I am the full-figure diva, plus-size fashionista, the female MacGyver of business, and the chubby girl wonder. I'm all that. And I know
Listen.
as they go in on Lizzo, baby, I was before her. I see what she's going through, and I'm like, you better do it anyway. Even if they make you
So
cry. My parents
good.
made me cry, and I'm okay with that. You saw me cry and still didn't do anything. Now you see me everywhere. Now what? And
That
I'm still
part.
light skinned, still black on both sides, still ain't got nothing ambiguous. I give honor to all of my sisters. My full figure, my thin, my shapely, my curvy, all of that. We all deserve to be at the table. But we
Mhm.
sometimes forget what we bring to the table that is so out of sight that no one can touch you. And that's why I'm a bad bitch with a power pitch. Some people have a problem with me saying that. You're not my target market. So what difference does it make? I can say
Uh-huh.
it all day and justify, girl. Let me.
Yes.
You
Listen,
got to
y'all
be a
heard her
fire in the
mention
fire.
it.
People play with me. Don't play with me. You should always be pitching,
Hmm.
or you should always give people a reason to want to know. So y'all see this 3 times. Forbes magazine wrote about 2 of my books. How many people can say that? They can't, but I can. So my thing for all of you, did that bad bitches and power pitches for women entrepreneurs and speakers only, and men have actually bought the book. Which I think is so cute because I'll take pictures, and I'm like, there's a woman who wrote me. She said, my 9-year-old son read your book and he loved it. Nine? And some people are like, oh, I thought it was a like a crash book. I said, no, that's a title. Internally, you go get it, but it's not like what it's not urban lit. However, if it was, I would recommend it of it. Because that's what a bad bitch with a power pitch does. Shout out to Sharon Monet. Shout out to hashtag Pen Legacy Family. We on hashtag Slay Our Legacy all day. We don't come to play. We come to what? Slay.
Oh, tell him one more time.
You,
One more time for the
you
folks in
know,
the
we
room.
don't come to play. We come to slay. Hashtag slay your legacy. Hashtag Sharon Monet. Hashtag Pen Legacy Family. Shout out to Christian Kwan. Shout out to Carla MD, my editor. Listen, y'all make me look good. How could one book, my first book, be a 4-time book of the year finalist in
Mm.
business, economics, and sales? Okay. Okay. I was just trying to write to get 2 people to buy. And I remember my girl Ty, she said, you know your book's #1. She
Me?
said, she said,
Uh-huh. Me?
first of all, I was shocked. She said, and it's 1999. She said, I said, we got to go against the grain sometimes. Sometimes you really have to try things out. And that's why I love Sharon Monet because she teaches us how to think outside of the box when it comes to books. You
Hmm.
know, what difference does it make if you're #1, if your books are still selling years after the fact? And
Yeah.
it's still being bought by companies and corporations. So New York Times and all of them can't absorb that. What if you're selling more on your website than you would ever sell on Amazon? Now you're not now the your little royalty. Now you're like, oh, I got it all. Let's go get it.
Yeah.
That's why you need to surround yourself with the right kind of people who will cause you to think differently. So people think pitching is investors. No, you're doing it all the time.
Right.
Tonight books will be sold. Tomorrow in Detroit books will be sold. Saturday books will be sold. Don't play with me. And that's
Hmm.
why I think tonight was more so about not necessarily pitching, but how I got here. So it's not just, oh, I've heard. No, you haven't. You haven't heard what we talked about tonight. And that's why it's important to have a great interviewer who understands the mission and the audience.
Oh. Listen, she talking about me and I'm gonna claim all of that because
You're
I'm
like,
interviewing right now.
okay.
Rolls Royce, honey, Rolls Royce.
Rolls Royce, all that. Look,
Listen, I only wish we had longer than an hour because there's so many different things. Like I have all these notes over here. We could talk about this. We could talk about this. We could have went deeper here. But I know folks
I
got
take
to get
repeat
back to
appointments. I
their
take I take repeat appointments. I take repeats. If you want to
Listen,
circle back at a later time, girl, we here.
Part 2. You heard
Okay.
it here first, folks. Okay. So
Put the
I have a
threatening, please.
question that I have to
Uh-huh.
ask all of my guests because we talked about first class life a little bit already. And let me just explain what that fully means for this next question. If you are new to my platform, you hear me talk about first class life all the time, but you may be wondering, like, what does that mean? So it is about being intentional about the quality of life you are creating for yourself, being intentional about the happiness you are creating for yourself. And we already talked about it's about being boldly and unapologetically who you are, flaws and all. It's about shedding away those masks that we put on every day when we wake up, those masks of fear, of doubt, of shame, of guilt, of expectations of other people. And again, what has been today's theme? Being who you are, walking in your God-given purpose, creating your living legacy. Okay. So that is what it means to create your first class life. Because when you are living your first class life, everybody connected to you is also positively impacted. And that's what makes it more special. And so my signature question that I have to ask all of my guests is, how do you intentionally create happiness in your life?
I intentionally create happiness in my life by embracing all of me. I
Mm.
love writing poetry, so everything isn't about business like it once was. I love chopping it up with the girls. I don't care if we having a fish fry or if we just fly out somewhere. I create happiness and joy by being alone and just letting God minister to me. I
Mm.
create joy by sharing the things that most people just take for granted and like, yo, if you've almost taken your life, there's so many things that you took for granted that you don't anymore. I love facing the rising sun. We all know the national Negro anthem, but I love it, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. I didn't appreciate life until I almost lost mine.
Mm.
Another thing is showing up for your friends. Doesn't mean you got to buy everything they do, but check in on them. Check in on them. See what time it is. Do you need to send a couple of brownies? Do you need to say happy birthday and your greatest Stevie Wonder thing? And also, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. We're taught that you can't be vulnerable, baby. If I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I don't care. You can't show vulnerability. Are you in my position? Because it's
Right.
gonna really come out. Well, she doesn't do that. Last time I checked out, I love Beyonce, but I'm not Beyonce.
Hmm.
Maybe of the industry, maybe, but for me, I'm Precious Williams. I don't desire to be anyone else, and maybe that's my 40s talking. But I finally settled into, all right, I'm a chubby girl wonder. Next, next. Either love me, I hated, I love it. The underdogs on top, and I'm gonna shine, homie, until my heart stops.
Go ahead and
Envy
envy
me.
me.
I'm just
Talk about
envy
the
me. And I
envy. Hey.
don't know you to
So
get
you
to
can get
know
to
me.
know me, okay?
I won't for nothing. I don't covet anybody else. I'm not envious of anybody else. I'm walking this lane. If she's got this going on, she's got that going on, baby. So I got some things going on, and y'all about to see. Promise you. Hashtag shock and awe. Don't play no games.
Kudos to Precious L. Williams. Make sure that you connect with her, okay? At Perfect Pitches by Precious. I got 2 of her books right here. Make sure you get yours. Even if you're not, well, no, let me say that because it says for women entrepreneurs and speakers only, right? But that doesn't mean it's not a good read, because you might be pitching to your boss for a promotion or for a raise or something like that. You might be
Well,
pitching
it takes on elevator, media,
significant
investor, all the
other.
people.
Mm-hmm. You might be pitching to your husband or to your wife or to your mama to buy you a gift to the Fiji self-care retreat next July. I don't know. I'm just saying.
All right.
But get your book, all right? She is Precious L. Williams, hashtag Killer Pitch Master. Her website is perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. You can find her on Instagram at perfectpitchesp. Ow, ow. And I know that you have a free quiz that everybody can take. So tell them about this free quiz at pitchingforprofit.com.
Yes. And it's a free 6-question quiz where no matter where you are in your pitching journey, whether it's an elevator pitch, a media pitch, an investor pitch, a speaker pitch, a sales pitch, or an interview pitch, whatever you're working on, this will tell you how to take it to the next level. So wherever you think you are right now, the algorithms will show you this is how you can really improve upon that pitch. Here's some things you're not thinking about, but we can tell in the algorithms what you're missing, right? So you take the free 6-question quiz. And once you press submit, you'll get a free customized report that'll tell you how to really strengthen your pitches. So again, go to www.pitchingforprofit.com. Love it. And if you don't even put the www, just put pitchingforprofit.com. You'll see my face. I'm gonna act up. Go ahead and take that quiz. Go ahead and dream twice. Dream. And again, if you want to get my book, it's on my website too.
At pitchingforprofit.com. And I know we have gone a little bit over the hour, but it was so hard. It was so hard. Over here in the comments, Donette says, we are pitching all of the time, whether we know it or not. Absolutely.
Again, say it again for the people in the back.
Says, awesome. Yes, listen, y'all. So as we close it out, if you're just tuning in, you'd have missed it. So make sure you go back and watch the replay, and still make sure you comment, love, share this video out, because we touched on so many different things and we still only hit the surface. So if you thought it was good, somebody in your feed likely needs these gems as well. So comment, love, share. Again, for my audio listeners, make sure you connect with Precious L. Williams at perfectpitchesbyprecious.com and get your free quiz at pitchingforprofit.com. I want to thank you, whether you're watching or listening, to spending your last hour here with us on the Happy Hour Show. And Miss Precious, do you have any final words of advice for the viewers and listeners as we close it out?
Yes. First piece of advice: fortune favors the bold. So go boldly. Go boldly. They're going to tell you can't do it anyway. All right, watch me. And, as you're dealing with your haters, give them something to talk about. They're going to talk about you. Give them something to talk about. She can't do it. She can't this. And so when it's done, you didn't do it for them. You did it for the God in you. And number 3, the purpose that he has for you, he ain't asking for co-signers because he's the master creator. So while you're hoping everybody else will co-sign and say you can do it, most of us have heard no so many times we don't even pay attention anymore, because we're just going to go out and do it. And if we have to pivot and change, I still keep that same energy. And so again, number 4, keep that same energy. You ain't like me before, keep that same energy. It's cool. My life isn't built on popularity and likes. It's built on the people that get results and they just keep going. I'm just a part of their journey. So you can focus on your haters, or you can focus on the ones that love you, that's going to propel you forward past the haters who have no jurisdiction over your dreams. Keep going.
Listen, I was trying to make sure I kept up. Okay. Give your haters something to talk about, and know that the purpose God has for you does not need co-signers, aka all those other people running their mouth about what you should be doing with your life, okay? Because he is the master creator. He built you while you were in the womb. He created you. He gave you a purpose that is all your own. And so again, be bold and unapologetic in who you are, because that's what matters, and that's what's going to help you in creating that legacy and walking in your God-given purpose. And I just want to thank the lovely Precious L. Williams for being a phenomenal guest here on the Happy Hour Show. Again, make sure that you buy her books. She has many. Buy them all. Yes. And reach out to her. perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. Connect with her on Instagram at perfectpitchesp, and you will be able to find her. And again, if you want to make sure that you stay tuned on all things Happy Hour, make sure you go to bit.ly/happy updates, so you can stay updated on the schedule whenever we have Happy Hour VIP specials, but only for those on the list. So make sure you sign up at bit.ly/happy updates. We are wrapping up season 3. We are almost done. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern and some bonus Thursdays like today. Hey, hey, hey. And I will be so happy to spend another hour here with you on the Happy Hour show on the next time. So with that said, bye y'all. See y'all later.